Welcome back to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast, a show all about inspiring smart, busy women to put their happiness at the top of their to-do list. Join your host and life coach, Dion Thompson, as she chats with amazing women who have figured out how to make their happiness a priority, and more importantly, what it's really like to go from hot mess to awesomeness. And now, on with the show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast. This is, in my personal opinion, the break that every busy woman deserves. And I am extra sweaty today. As you know, right before we jump on these calls, we do a 15-minute guest-inspired dance party. And Anne's songs today were Holy Booty Shaken. I Am What I Am by Gloria Gaynor. Gotta tell you, obviously she's got some other amazing singles, but the lyrics for that were so great that I will be sharing them when I share the replay of this, and I'll throw that in the show notes because it was fantastic. It was super inspiring and I loved every minute of it. And then a little Flow Rida because, you know, we're totally cool like that, and Katy Perry because we're channeling our inner millennial. Anyway, it was awesome. I loved it. I'm extremely sweaty, and so if you're watching this on the video, I'm a little glowy. I feel very glistening right now, so that's just, we'll call that intentional makeup. And thank you so much for being here. So,
My pleasure.
And did a beautiful job at writing. We were talking about bios and pulling things together, and she was telling me the story today that she had put something together she's really excited about for today's podcast. And then due to the miracles of technology, it up and erased on her. And then she wrote another beautiful bio, which then I can't print. And right before this podcast, I did my best to make that happen. And it didn't work. It didn't work. Now
Shall I read it?
You can. I just first want to say, so, I mean, I've known you for a few years now. And so my personal, I guess, introduction of you is that you are one of the kindest, most loving humans I've met. And I really felt like from that first moment when we were at that networking event in Barrie, that lunch that was fabulous, and I'm like, hey, and you're like, hey, and we kind of figured out that we knew, some mutual people, and it was like, I'm like, I love this woman, and I'm so excited that number one, you're in my community, so I actually get to see you, and that our worlds sort of intertwine regularly. Thank you for the amazing energy that you put out into the world as a realtor and as a friend and as a confidant and as a coach and as a real advocate and light of hope. And I know that you're going to read your bio that has the sort of the official description there, but I just wanted to let the world know that beyond the things that you do, you are definitely a shining light. So I'm super excited to be chatting with you today.
That is so sweet. I just want to throw away my bio. Let's just go with your plan. I like what you said way better.
Well, you're welcome to read. I mean, I am happy to share some. You have some letters behind. You have some things that you do, some trainings that you offer. I mean, please let us know all about those very specific things, because I think that it's extremely valuable that people know what you bring as well as how you bring it. So.
Well, thank you so much. I absolutely love and adore you too. And it was synchronicity from the moment we met at that event in Barrie and started talking outdoors. And it's just been this amazing synchronicity since, even though we don't always see each other. I still think of you often and love you, and I think you're a firework, and I want to be one of your biggest cheerleaders, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a realtor, and but I often put the hashtag not your average realtor because my last name is Lesperance. It means hope, and I feel like my mission is to share hope with people, and that comes through the medium of real estate as well. I like to empower people to to be able to invest in real estate, because investing in real estate is really probably the best thing you can do, even now. That's one of the cool things about the team I work with. We're always creating ways of doing things better and doing things differently. And one of them is like, we have a buyer tenant program for people who are struggling to get into the housing market. We have a new real estate program to help people fund their kids' education through real estate investing. And we also have a program to help people create a huge nest egg, like $1 to $2 million anyway, even if they're not a young chick anymore. I like that. Do you like that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we're just always creating ways to deliver on that hope. You know, like people have plans and dreams and aspirations. And it's one of the reasons I got into the other sales and relationship training stuff, because people do that for a reason. And I just want to support them in having a life by design, not a life by default.
Brilliant. I love that. And I, you know, there's so many reasons why you and I connected. And I think that's definitely one of the core tenets to why I do what I do.
Exactly.
You know, it can be an intentionality around the decisions we make, and then, you know, knowing why we do what we do and how powerful that is. And I'm very excited, and I don't know how much we'll dive into bank code and how that you're a bit of a code breaker, as it were. But I do know how powerful it is when not only do we understand ourselves, but the people that we're working with who are there to offer service and an opportunity also get a really clear picture of who we are. And you have this really great way of making that happen in like milliseconds, which I think has been, as an observer, such a powerful tool for you, not just because of success and your capacity to do the work that you do, but even more sort of deep into the core of it. I know that in some of our conversations, you know, you talk about really connecting with people, your clients, through the home transition process, and that you're such a asset to many people who are having to transition at a time when, you know, the change wasn't necessarily welcome, or it was a bit of a surprise, or, you know, it's such a new experience. They could have been in their home for decades, and now the idea of having to shift it brings up so much. And you have so many tools to bring to the table, not just a real estate license and some knowledge and great capacity for research and a great team.
Right.
But all of the tools that you've amassed over the years and the journey that you've personally taken, I think it makes such a huge asset to our community and to the lucky people that get to work with you. So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm always very interested, very excited about what that journey was like. What brought you to this place of not just because your name means hope, but really aligning yourself with that mission and bringing that forward now at this point in your life. So what do you feel was sort of the markers in your story that brought you to this place?
I'm glad you asked. I thought you'd never ask. I was a hot mess. And I'm working on awesomeness now. I guess it was about 2016. I was a hot mess, starting over, had some life challenges, and decided to get into real estate, to join my sister and get into real estate. And so it was a big transition. It was like learning a new career altogether. And I remember going to the Real Estate Wealth Expo in April of 2017. And I was supposed to, synchronicity, right? I was supposed to get into this one workshop and it was full. I couldn't get in. So my second choice was someone else on the list. And I was the second last person allowed into that room. And when I sat down and heard the founder of Bankcode Technologies, or it was Bankcode. Now it's Codebreaker Technologies, because it was associated with banking and people thought I was trying to get information on their bank code. So they actually had to change the name. So it's Codebreaker Technologies. But when I heard the founder of that company speak, Sherry Tree, it just resonated with me so much, because she has a mission to bring this universal language to the world. And it just flowed through her. It wasn't even, she doesn't even say she created it, because it was some divine intervention. And it's helped, save lives, save marriages. It just resonated with me so much that I had to jump in and become a trainer. So that particular year was my first full year in real estate. And I did 80 deals that year when the average realtor does 4. So I did like 20 times what the average realtor does.
Holy shit.
It was from my own gifts. It was also using this technology and using it to understand people and to just show up and be love and light for people, and allow them to speak their language to me. So when I was able to fully understand people, I had incredible success. But I wasn't in a position, like I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't leveraged. So I didn't have a lot of help. So it was a really crazy year. And I realized that I wanted to do things a little differently after that. But like that was a 2,000% increase over the average person, average realtor in Southern Georgian Bay.
Right.
So I realized that this has huge potential to assist other people, to assist my clients, to assist people so that they can have success, and then they can buy a big house from me. They can buy their dream house on the lake.
Yeah.
Real estate, they can, they can actually take some of their money and invest it. So I just saw the potential to assist people in a way that would just benefit them and their families. Sometimes I'd go see people and they'd say, "Oh, do you offer coaching too?" I'd be on a listing appointment and they'd be asking me if I offered coaching, because I was managing even their relationship, because this program helps with that as well.
Yeah.
So that was fun for me, So that's how things shifted. Mm-hmm.
And so you went through that year of holy moly and lots of learning, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What would you say? So obviously, the general observer is going, wow, lucky her. I mean, things must have been great, but I know that that's not how life works. So what would you say really challenged you in those moments and brought you to a place where you had sort of a deeper awareness of what you wanted to do?
Well, I think what was challenging was I wasn't ready for that level of success, and I didn't have leverage. I didn't have people to assist with. So I dropped the ball with some clients, and I felt really horrible about that, because that wasn't my intention, and that would also reflect badly on the company. So I think it scared me off a little bit from the success, right? And I also realized that I didn't have much of a life. I was working 7 days a week, over 12 hours a day. And it just it was great that I was helping people, and I loved that part. But it didn't really work for me. It wasn't a lifestyle. It wasn't a life by design,
No.
right?
And I guess it was a life by default, although the default wasn't bad. And so I would imagine that it's easy to fall into the but this is really great. Like, I should be happy. I should be grateful. I should be wanting to continue on this path. And we both know that buts lead you right into burnout. So did you?
Absolutely. I totally burned out.
Yeah.
I totally burned out after that first year. Yeah, for sure. I did. So what I needed to do is just leverage myself more. The next year I did fewer deals by choice. I wasn't as involved. I pulled back a little bit so I'd have a bit of a life, that I'd have connection with friends and make friends, because I'd also moved back to the area and I didn't know a lot of people. So I didn't have people to hang out with. My whole life was work, right? So it wasn't fulfilling on that personal level.
What would you say, there's that aha moment when you hit that, like, okay, this can't be my life. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, no matter how great it looks on paper. And I think a lot of women can relate to being in that place where it's like, well, I have a good on paper job or a good on paper life. I should just keep going. But,
I couldn't.
when you hit that burnout point, you start asking some questions. And so what would you say were some of sort of the pinnacle or the reflective questions that brought you to a place to be able to go, no, I am going to take a step back and say no to, so what some people may call leaving money on the table. So, what did you ask yourself, or what did you sort of come to? What sort of conclusions did you come to?
I think it was really, is this the life I want for myself? Halfway through my life, and I'm not in a relationship. I'm just working. I don't have friends. Like, is this all there is?
Right.
Is this all there is? Is this what it's all about? Really? That's it?
Yeah, I can 1000% relate to that question. And I remember when I was starting my coaching business, I was like, I want to be there for women when they when they turn and go, this can't be it. Like, this isn't what I just lived half my life for. Is this all there is? And so I'm interested, obviously. So prior to that, you had done the bank training, or the code training, the code breaker technologies. And that's a huge asset and a great tool in your toolbox. But what did you do at that point for yourself? Obviously, you leveraged your time and you accessed additional resources for your business. But what other tools did you amass, or strategies did you employ to be able to shift from go, to focusing on what it is that you actually wanted?
It's funny. One of the things about bank code, I'll just share like the cards, right? It's about the values. So it's a really straightforward, because a lot of people don't know what bank is, but one of the things that drew me in on that day, that day in 2017, was when Sherry held up these cards and told me that in 90 seconds, when I'm with a client, and in 90 seconds or less, I can know pretty much everything about their personality code, what their buying behavior is, what's going to trigger a yes in the sales presentation, and what's going to tripwire a no.
So for those of you listening, she's holding up 4 different colored cards with, like, it's not the size of a credit card.
It has their values on it. It has people's values. You put them in order of what's most important to you. And I started tapping into my own values. And the interesting thing that I've even just discovered recently is that your third card is where you go when you're in stress. And during COVID, most of us are in some form of stress. So I went into the knowledge. That's my third. And I started doing research. I started taking courses. I was all in. I've taken all kinds of coaching programs. I've taken all kinds of training to be a trainer. And that's where I went with it. I just decided to focus on what was really giving me connection, right? Connection with people.
I love that. And I just have to say a little aha moment. So my third is action. Shocker. So during times of stress, I'm like, what do I got to do? Like, I take a moment. In people who've seen me, because in many of the roles I've occupied in my life, they've been sort of in leadership roles. And then when crisis hits, I take about 5 minutes to kind of go, and I pull back and I get really quiet. And someone at one time observed, like, you're not doing anything. I'm like, oh, you have no idea. And then I'm like, just go, like, jump in and do the things. And interesting that when COVID, when everything transpired, I'm like, I'm going to start this big conversational platform and, well, let's turn it into a podcast. So fascinating that number 3 is sort of that knee-jerk stress response. I'm going to pull out my book and read into that a little bit more. Because my first 2 are knowledge and nurture, and action is my number 3, and a blueprint's number 4, but we don't talk about that. So
we just leave that one. We leave that one off the chart, unless you are blueprint, then, everyone's loved.
So just for some reference here, obviously, if you're listening in and you have no idea what we're talking about, then I definitely will share some links just so that you can get a really clear picture of this type of, I don't want to say personality profiling, but what I think is fascinating about this that's different than all of the other things? You know, I'm an ENFJ and I'm a gold orange and I'm a red yellow in this other system. Like, you know, the list goes on. Is that it goes beyond figuring out who you are to taking it to that next level and using it as a tool to figure out who it is that you're working with, but openly, not just personally going, okay, so my client is obviously, and I'm thinking they're like this kind of person and they're doing this kind of thing. You actually ask them and engage them in the process of, let's get on the same page about what's best, and how to best communicate with each other so that we both feel seen and heard, so that you feel that you're getting the best out of this, and I'm not, you know, and nobody's wasting any time. So if anybody's interested, I know that Anne would be more than happy to talk about that. And like I said, I'll link to
yeah, and people can also, they can also craft their own code and get the information. And I invite them to have their partner or spouse do it too, so they can see if they're the opposites attract or not. You know, they say opposites attract and then they attack.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's Dave and I have our 1 in 3 are opposite. Our number 2 is the same, so he's a nurturer too. Like
that's great.
And he's an action. So I find that that's a great compliment, because when I'm in stress, I go action, but when he's in stress, he goes nurture. And so we both need and do, and yeah, it's been, yay.
Yeah, it's really challenging when the knowledge is like, you know, the last one for one person and the first for another, and one person wants a lot of contact and the other one's like, well, what? I gave you a hug 3 months ago. You know, it's like, what more do you want? Or they say, well, you know, I told you I love you. If it changes, I'll let you know.
Like I mentioned it once. You know, I find that the codes that you use are really great complement to a lot of the other ways in which we observe or sort of break down things. Like the love language, to me, the whole system, I found very helpful and very easy and simple to process. And, you know, you can do that quiz in like 2 seconds. And it just is a point of observation, and then great complement with codes, because codes are related to values, and
Exactly.
and I think everybody who's been in my world knows, I'm all about getting super clear on what your values are. So whether you do
absolutely
a values assessment or you do the quick codes, and knowing what's driving you at an unconscious level gives you power to make quick, easy, and valuable decisions that you can confidently say are taking you exactly where you're meant to go, instead of doing the hemming and hawing and then, you know, and is this for somebody else? Am I doing it because of what they want? Is this even where I want to go? I have no idea. And you know, we spend a lot of time testing things out and living into other people's values or organizational values that don't feel right. And, you know, at this point of, I'm going to say midlife-ish, like, freaking, I don't have time for that shit. Like like I want to be doing what I want to do, and I want to know that I'm doing it quickly.
Well, this also helps people like when you were working on your which photo to use, and it all depends on who you want to work with, who you want to attract, right? And this helps you do that. I think one of the distinctions I want to make about other personality code cracking or personality testing or anything is that everything else is kind of about yourself, and you get this big report and you can read about it and forget about it, you know. And the thing with these cards is that you know instantly what the person in front of you is, so that you can be more agreeable, you can speak their language. It's not about you, it's about them, especially in the sales process or in the relationship process, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, when I was doing my master's many moons ago, I was, you know, we were having to work on some reflective piece. I don't even remember what it was, but to be honest, it doesn't matter what it was. What the professor said to me was, Dion, this is not navel gazing. You need to be looking outward. And I was like, what? But I like to be thinking about myself and what I do and why I do it, and what other people are doing is in fact about me, because I'm a human and that's what I do. But when you step into roles of service, roles of sales, whatever it may be, relationships, you know, at the end of the day, we're interacting with other humans. It's important to know who we bring to the table. It's equally important to know how what we offer can be, whether or not it's going to be well received or or not. And, you know, in so many conversations where we're talking about relationships, whether it's like through partners or for, you know, employee boss or client relationships, there's this sort of idea that they need to get to where you are, when of course, no, that's not, it's really about compassion and curiosity, and using those as drivers so that we can figure out how to be there together, right?
Yeah,
And
I have a colleague who actually used this program to totally restructure a company. It was a multi-million-dollar company, and they were going to go under. And she said, "Give me a chance to go in and see what's going on." And she coded everybody, and she repositioned them in roles that they would actually enjoy, and doing the things that they love to do based on their values.
yeah,
Shown in this like 30-second, instead of a 30-minute assessment, it's like a 30-second assessment.
yeah.
And she repositioned everyone, and it just took off, and everyone was happy doing things they love to do, doing the roles they love to do. Like, I know, for example, that as Blueprint Labs, you do not want to be the one structuring a company and putting all the paperwork in place and enforcing rules and needing to, right?
This is so fascinating, and it's been I've been intrigued by this work, and the easy and effective and like the quickness around it. So for me, I left a good on paper job. I worked for the school board in a management position, and a big part of my role was very blueprint-esque. Now, at a different time in my life, when I would say was sort of pre-personal awakening, I was very, very good at mimicking the behaviors I believed others wanted. And I was
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
Mimicking.
I was really, really good at blueprint stuff, structure, organization, paperwork, spreadsheet.
I didn't hear you say you loved it. I hear you say that you're good at it.
I was really good at it. And so when it came to this point where I started to, again, like you, this can't be what my life is all about. What do I really want? I started to question what I had just done for 15, 20 years. And
No
then
kidding.
you get to that point and go, but should I turn around now? Like this is safe, and I've been doing it for a long time. And the one thing that was one of the pinnacle aha moments for me, and there were many over the year or 2 years that it took me to exit fully, was looking at my values and recognizing that the values that I held did not at all coalesce with the values of the organization I worked for.
Right.
And and to take that, the ick out, there's no bad or good. The organization I worked for is just fine. They have a whole series of values and they live into them every day. They just aren't mine. And so that huge disconnect that is created when we are not in alignment with our values, and then the really great strategies we employ to fill that void, which, by the way, I had a whole series of really shitty ones that I used for years to try to just make it the job palatable, the experience palatable.
Yeah.
And so this tool that you offer, and again, it's not just you're the lady with the 4 cards. We're talking about a lifetime of experience and professional and personal development that you have amassed, and
Absolutely.
and then pulling together. And yes, you work in real estate, but I think it's super transferable for anybody to communicate with you, even if they're not in a real estate position, to gather this information and to become a little bit more knowledgeable about their code, and again, quickly and easily figure out how to best serve the world that they want to serve and to live our best lives.
Absolutely.
Really, really great.
I'm so passionate about that, about living our best lives and supporting other people, even other realtors. Like I will support other realtors in learning this methodology, because I want everyone to have a great life, to succeed and live their best life, invest in real estate so that they have a secure future and they have wealth, and they're not going to be worried about where the money's going to be coming from, when they retire, if they can retire, right? So I'm just really passionate about bringing that hope to people, because it's there. People don't know what they don't know. It's one of the biggest things I learned. We don't know what we don't know. Yeah.
So how have you been translating all of this beautiful knowledge now, recently, in these, times of uncertainty, if you will?
Well, it's interesting because I've been noticing all the posts on, social media. Everybody's in their stress mode and they're lashing out, and, stay the F home is one that really tells me someone's not a nurturer, right? Or they're not coming from their nurturer position anyway. Um, I'm fascinated by how people respond, and it's just based on their on their code, because this was originally created really by the father of medicine, Hippocrates. He realized 4,000 years ago that people responded differently based on their personality, on their values. So he started treating people based on that and had great results. So this is kind of a continuation of that, right? And we're all four codes, just in different order. And so for me right now, I think I've been dabbling in this for a while, and I've been talking to people about it because I'm so passionate about it. But I really am going to step into more of a training mode to help people, because right now everybody needs every single sale they can get to survive. We see all the big businesses going under. I want to support entrepreneurs. I want to support people in sales to succeed, because when people have a side hustle, as they call it, or part-time job, there's a reason they have that. Because maybe they want to bring their kids to Disney, or they want to go on vacation, or they want to create a nest egg. Maybe they just don't like their spouse. I don't know why they're trying to get out of the house so much, but I want to help them succeed. I have the tools, like 2,000%, even if someone gets 5% more, 10% more, 50% more, like what would that do for them? What would that do for their family? They would be the superheroes within their families. And yes, women can be superheroes too.
Yeah, we're like the first superheroes. Let's
yeah, that's right. Yeah. From
so
zero to superhero.
Yeah. Oh, love that.
Thank you.
So what is the next
That's a hint.
chapter? Yeah.
That's
the next chapter of the story? Is that
that is the chapter.
Zero to superhero,
and zero to superhero is training people, training women who are in sales to be able to succeed and fulfill their dreams. They did it for a reason. They're in sales for a reason. I want to make sure that they succeed.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. So is this a work in progress, or is there already something we can hear about? Is it connect with you and learn more kind of stuff?
If people want the cards, they can reach out to me, and I'll send them off to them for $25, including shipping. The value of about $100, but I'll send them out for $25. And they're in there. You can't see it because it's. I keep forgetting it's podcast, but they're in there with COVID protection already. I haven't opened these in at least 6 months to a year, so I'll send out the cards, because for me that was like I had to have those cards, because you can tell so much from that. And then I guess just reach out to me at ann@teamjordan.ca is one way. And I'm going to be offering some introductory information to the training that's available, so that people can up their game. Awesome. And they can create the life they really want. Brilliant. It's all attainable.
So I will 100% share all your contact info in the show notes. And as more information becomes available, I'll continue to update those show notes. So if you're catching this a little bit later, then ideally it will be there. And so, Ann, you have gone from zero to superhero, hot mess to awesomeness. Love those two. I love how those go together. What words of wisdom would you impart on a woman who is embarking on this journey, who has decided, okay, you know what, this can't be all there is. I want to actually pursue something that I want, but I have no idea how. What would you share with her?
I would say get clear on what you want, because the universe can't deliver until the universe knows exactly what you want. Write it down, get clear on what you want. And I feel like we've all been on this giant reset because of COVID. I think there's huge opportunity to pause and really give thought to what you want to be doing. What is going to What does fully self-expressed look like? What does your ideal life look like? And there's no reason you can't create it. There's no reason. And we're all in sales, whether we're talking to a colleague, you know, in real estate, another realtor, we all play in the same sandbox. You know, we all have to play together. So I think it's really critical to just think about what you want to do and just go for it. And like that one sign that you created for me, Dion, if not now, then when?
Right.
Right? To keep
Yep.
thinking, like, we can't keep putting things on hold and postponing things.
Mhm.
If there's no better time than now.
Yeah.
It really
Brilliant.
isn't. Yeah. And the sports
I
Tap
love
into
that.
your wisdom. Tap into
Tap
your
into your
wisdom.
Yeah.
Tap into your wisdom.
I think I'm so grateful for you and for your words of wisdom and for your insights and for bringing this knowledge and these tools into my life. They've been extremely valuable to me, and I know I'm going to be taking advantage of whatever training program you offer from zero to superhero, because I think that, again, during these times of whether we chose it or not shift, for those of us who are looking at it going, no time like the present, and if not, when now, or if not, what was it?
What is it? If not now, then when?
Then when? Yeah. I wrote it. I should probably.
You wrote it. That's right.
This is the right time. So I'm super excited for that. And so thank you, Anne. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wicked ass dance party at the beginning of our chat today. And
My pleasure.
all sweaty. And I look forward to seeing you in
Yes.
real life and giving you that big person-to-person hug that I miss.
That'll be nice one day, hopefully soon. Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure, and I really appreciate you inviting me on and just being able to share this with people, because I really want to make that difference in people's lives. So it's the only way we can get the message out there. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Join Dion again next week to learn more about what you can do to go from hot mess to awesomeness.